In this episode, I was joined by Mike, aka SC Kicker 2022, one of the co founders of the Hyde Park Ninjas, who are heavily involved in a variety of Web3 ventures in and around the Upland Metaverse. As his name suggests, SC has been playing Upland since January 2022, and today we focus on discussing his journey into Upland and the aspects that keep him interested and engaged with the platform. Since this is the first in what we hope will be a three-part series featuring the Hyde Park Ninjas, we adjusted the format slightly to save some relevant discussions for future episodes. Alongside sharing personal history and insights, where we found many similarities, we also raced through SC's insights and opinions on various contemporary Upland and Web3 related topics, which I hope you'll enjoy. As you'll discover, if you're not already familiar, the Hyde Park Ninjas are adept at rolling with the punches and capitalizing on some of the many exciting opportunities that the Upland Metaverse continually presents. And with his innovative and positive mindset, SC Kicker 2022 is far from tapping out in the Metaverse and beyond.
Warning, the information and opinions within are solely for the views of the individuals involved, contains content not suitable for anyone.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome back to another version of the Metaverse and Beyond podcast. This time we're featuring the one and only Mike, SC Kicker from the Hyde Park Ninjas. How are we doing this evening, your time?
Doing great, man. What time is it on your time frame over there?
6 a.m., bit after on a Sunday morning. Yes.
Nice. All right. We're about 4 o'clock in the afternoon here. The day's kind of just getting started. Part two.
Yes. Well, speaking of part two, it's going to be a little bit different this episode. Normally we dive into, who the guest is and what they're all about, where they've been and whatnot. Obviously, you are very much, I was going to say affiliated, but you're not affiliated. You're one of the co-founders of the Hyde Park Ninjas. But I'm hoping to make this a three-part series if we can nail down the schedule. And what's it taken us to get this far? It's taken us, 2 months or something?
It has, between your crazy schedule, our crazy schedule, all kinds of stuff, weddings and stuff in between. Yeah, it's been tough, but man, we've been waiting for this. I've been looking forward to this, getting together with you. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, a little bit different this time. We're just going to touch on Mike and what he's got going on, and we'll speak to the other half of the Hyde Park Ninjas at some stage, and then hopefully get them back together for a kind of a double interview thing as well. So, and Mike's also got a hard out in an hour, so nice brief one today, especially if you're listening at my favorite 2x speed. All right, so we're just going to dive straight in. Into it. So now, I do have a billion tabs up here, so it might take me a second to get the right one. Yeah, that's the wrong one. There we go. So SC Kicker 2022. Are you one of the people who you put your name into Upland and then you didn't realize you couldn't change it, or what's the story behind that?
I don't even remember. I don't know how I came up with the name SC Kicker. I mean, a lot of people thought I was a kicker for USC, and I said, yeah, I'm much too old for college. But SC Kicker came from martial arts in South Carolina, is where I live. I actually live on the border of North and South Carolina, so we get the best of both worlds. So that's kind of where that came from. Everybody thought I was a football kicker. So
yeah, I was the same. I just slapped mine together. I thought Ben 68, that'll do, and yeah, didn't realize that. Then it's interesting how a whole persona can develop after something you just slap together without really thinking about it.
It's funny how that happens. I've grown up playing a lot of games, but more of the games I played are like D&D, Magic the Gathering. So we didn't really have screen names per se. We just had real names. And so the screen name was something new for me. So I made it, and it is what it is. So it's there forever now, I guess.
Yeah, I was similar with a lot of chat rooms and things I used to do way back in the day, but mine were always bizarre, like Suspended in Dusk or some weird bloody emo thing from back in the day. But yeah, I actually think I went to patch something that was too long for Upland, and I thought, oh, bugger, I just want to play this thing. So I just slapped that in on a whim. Yeah, didn't even think of it. Yeah, so you've been around for a while. January 3rd, 2022. Did you dive straight into upgrading to Uplander status?
Let's see. So it was during the holidays. I guess it must have been the week between like Christmas and New Year's. Because that's about the only time we get time off from what we do. And I just happened to be sitting on the couch having a cup of coffee. My parents were in town for the holidays, and I was watching a podcast on, it was actually an accounting podcast, and I came across this video with this accountant, and I believe they were talking about cryptocurrencies or something I was looking for. And there was a young guy on from Georgia State University, University of Georgia, and he was talking about this game Upland. And as they were talking about it, it sounded exactly like Monopoly. I was like, "Oh, I got to check this out." I always liked Monopoly as a kids, and I remembered all the family feuds that we had, good and bad ones, over that game, and it just kind of resonated with me. And I had been kind of familiar with cryptocurrencies with like Decentraland, Sandbox, and are you familiar with those a little bit?
Yeah, yeah.
So the price point for entry was pretty high. So when I saw Upland, I was like, well, this is something I could kind of get my feet wet a little bit. And I ended up falling in love with it. It was easy to follow. It was app based, so I could do it from my phone. I could do it from the computer, and it just worked out really good. So I started buying property. I was sitting on the couch having coffee and I was buying properties. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And I ended up, I think I was in Detroit. I had a bunch of properties in Detroit and Cleveland, which I think I still have them. I haven't sold any of them really. And that's kind of how I started. And then we had a couple releases. I got involved with the releases, and then it just kind of built from there. We were just coming out of COVID, I believe, and our businesses were closed down. So I had a little bit more free time at that particular moment. So I just started to play with it a little bit. And next thing you know, we were building houses, then cars came into it, and it's just kind of evolved into this big thing. And yeah, so we've just been building ever since, and started getting into developing like ninja assets and stuff within our Hyde Park group. And it just kind of started. That's what it started from, though. It was nothing. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And some days I feel like I still don't know what the hell I'm doing because things change so quick day to day. And, KO will call me up and he'll be telling me about something. I was like, what are you talking about? I hadn't even seen it yet. There's things change on a dime. It's crazy. But that's kind of how we got started. So I got started. I was diving into these properties, and I called KO and I said, "Hey, I've been checking out this cool game. You got to check it out." Next thing you know, he's buying properties, and here we are. And we started doing so we actually started doing podcasting because we didn't know what we were doing and we were trying to learn. And so we said, well, there's other people that probably need to learn too. So we started doing podcasts. Half the information we put out was probably wrong, but we did, we did play with it and make sure we knew what the hell we were talking about before we put it out there. Cause I have seen people go out and give advice and you get on there and it was nothing even close to what you're supposed to do. So we're always really cautious of what we put out and how we put it out. So, but we've just been having fun with it. And, doing some of the podcasting stuff in the Upland is completely different from what we do in real life. So I enjoy it. I really love doing it. We really, it's a break from everything else we do in real life. And it just kind of evolved where we were going to start to make like a ninja community. So we picked Hyde Park. I don't remember how we stumbled upon it. So within LA, Hyde Park is one of the bigger areas. And that was one of the reasons we chose it, because we wanted as many people to get involved as possible. And we hadn't really ever thought about like going out and selling out the neighborhood or becoming a collection, because those weren't things when we first started. And so we got a long ways to go with that, but that wasn't what our goal was ever to sell out a neighborhood or do that. And now we do want to do that eventually. But our primary goal is to share martial arts with everybody. And that's kind of how we got into starting the Hyde Park Ninjas and started building stuff from there. So, and it's kind of interesting because we're definitely a team with everything that we do within martial arts, and then also within, the Hyde Park Ninjas. But it's kind of cool because we do have our own characters, within Upland too. So we have two different things there. It's really neat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just looking at that now, a lot going on there. Yeah, it's pretty similar. Your kind of entry story there is pretty similar to my own, where I found it through a podcast as well. Um, I think, I think you're very lucky to have somebody, obviously a good friend of yours, who's you have a well-established relationship, who was interested in this. I know from my own perspective, I've shown this to friends and co-workers and family members, and they just kind of roll their eyes and think, "What the hell are you doing?" Um, so yeah, maybe you can speak to how how that aspect of things has helped keep you motivated or help keep you interested and whatnot, having that close relationship with KO?
Yeah, so it's interesting because we're two different age brackets. I'm more of like his parents' age, and we've known each other in martial arts. I think I've watched him compete, and probably judged a lot of his divisions when he was a youngster. And we're both very competitive. I was ultra competitive when I was really young, so we do a lot of similar things. We travel together for seminars and trainings and different things throughout the years, and we get our schools together for events and tournaments. So we're both extremely competitive, but we like to have a lot of fun too with what we do. And we were on a trip. I think we were in Tampa, Florida. We were there for a jiu-jitsu retreat. We were down at the down at Tampa at the coast there. So we're doing a jiu-jitsu retreat, and I had my phone with me. And as we're driving in the rental car from the airport, I was mining on my phone XYO. I don't know if you're familiar with XYO. And I think they have some kind of partnership with Upland actually now too, which I was really excited about because I've been mining it for quite a while. And I was in the front seat. They always push the older guys at the front seat just out of respect. So I'm sitting in the front seat and everybody could see my phone and it's following like the GPS. And, everybody was asking, what is that? And Keith kind of latched onto it and was asking me about it the week after we got back. And then he was mining XYO too. And then we had the whole computer system that went with it. And, we dove in headfirst with that. And that's kind of how we got into like cryptos. And again, when we were out of business, we were doing whatever we could to survive, really being out of business as long as we were with COVID. And we wanted to make sure that our time was productive. So we spent a lot of time on the phone from our areas and, looking at cryptos, what can we invest in to make a little bit of money while we're out of work. And that's kind of how we got started into cryptos. And really, that's kind of how we developed a relationship was through martial arts. And then we always knew we were going to do something business related because our academies and schools are separate. So we always knew we were going to do something together. And Upland was the first thing that kind of pieced that together. And then we just kind of went crazy from there. And, we talk every day. It was weird. We didn't talk the last 4 days because of everything going on with the weather, and his school was moving. I was away up at the Cape for a wedding. And it was really weird because we usually meet or talk at least once a day, either with ourselves or with our team for different things we have going on. But we've just, we've really developed a great relationship. And it's weird because it's, such a different age bracket. I'm definitely a lot older than him. And a lot of times when we go to events, people think I'm his dad because of that age gap. So it's pretty funny. So I think he got called, I got called Mike Olson, or he got called Keith Stryker or something. They mixed us up because they thought we were father and son. It was so funny. But
That's
so
awesome.
I remember being at the beach that day talking with everybody, and man, I felt really old that day.
Yes, fun times. Yeah, that sounds very cool. All right, we'll dive back into what you've got going on. Current net worth 44 million. You've got 343,000 in the bank. Are you saving up for anything in particular, or recovering from something in particular?
So I blew a lot for the Paris Open. I blew pretty much everything I had and then some. So,
Yep.
but I had a fun time doing it. I was built back up close to just under 1 million, I think. And I went a little crazy with the NFL legits recently. I'm
Nice.
a huge Buffalo fan. And so I had to go stock up on some Buffalo Bills stuff and trying to get that for that competition that's going on. I think they
Yep.
got the development going on in New Orleans, and it's part of that whole package. I've actually got to read more on that and understand it because I actually have a lot of Buffalo stuff, but I did not see my name on the list in Upland, so I don't know if it's just not updated. Because I think actually I saw Big A. Big A is the number one holder for Buffalo legits, I believe.
Mm.
When I was looking at the
Well,
list, KO was showing that Thursday on our stream, and I couldn't believe he's a Buffalo fan, so that's kind of cool.
stiff competition there, mate.
Yeah, I would say so, huh?
All right, so we're just looking at your progress chart. Very much a hodler. You said you've pretty much held on to everything you've bought since you've started. Yeah, very consistent growth on there. Um, Interesting to note that your property's net worth pretty much straight out the gate separated from your mint net worth and has continued to expand. So you do a lot on the secondary. Is that related to Hyde Park, or what do you got going on there? Do you know?
So a lot of what I have is in Hyde Park. I've got quite a few properties in Hyde Park. I don't know exactly how many, to be honest. I didn't want to buy. I kind of stopped buying in Hyde Park because I didn't want it to get where people would, sometimes people are like accuse when you have a lot of properties in one area, they'll accuse you of trying to sell out on the neighborhood. And
Oh, I know
I
all
know
about
you've
that.
had to deal with all that. And I didn't want to be in a position where I had so much property or KO had so much property that people would think that, because that definitely isn't our motivation. Do we want to buy and sell for profit? Heck yeah. I mean, that's everybody does, right? You want to make a little bit of profit. So
Yep.
I'll typically go in and for a long time, actually, I was buying a lot of properties cash and either holding them because I got them at a good price, or I would just sell them for UPIX when I was trying to earn UPIX to save up for different things. So, but for the most part, I've been hodling. I've toyed around with buying and selling, buying for UPIX and selling cash too, just so I could learn
Yep.
it and do it. This way, if you ever did want to cash out, there is that, availability. I know how to do it. I'm experienced with it, but definitely not my main motivation. We have the assets that we sell that, we're building through Hyde Park. So we'll sell those for cash and for UPIX. So we have them available both ways. And we got a lot of really cool stuff that's planned out. We can get more into that when we do the third section of that with KO. But yeah, our philosophy is let's build some really cool stuff that other people can use to build their properties. And, we don't know. I mean, nobody really knows where it's going to go in the future. We can speculate. But, I see this growing to something really big one day. I think they're taking a lot of the right steps. There's a lot of things that they do that, and when I say they, I mean Upland, a lot of things they do that kind of drive me bonkers sometimes. But for the
Oh,
most
yeah.
part, I feel like they're going in the generally the right direction, more so than other projects I've seen.
Very cool. Yeah, with the USD out, like you say, you sell some assets and whatnot, playing around with that. Are you doing that to have a Tilia balance there to take advantage of other situations, or are you pulling that out, or what are you up to there?
So actually, I haven't pulled out anything. I use it to buy other stuff, and then a lot of what we sell within our Ninja assets are be used. They're going to be used for those funds to be used for other projects that we're doing within Hyde Park. So we're trying to use that money as our like seed money, say, for the
Yep.
projects that we're working on. We have a lot of different projects underway. We already have. I think you've seen the comic book. We do have. I don't know if I have one here. We do have the comic book is out. We released this in June in Vegas at the Upland Genesis Week. And
Yep.
we do have a coffee line in Java. So we got a lot of different things going. We've got our card game, our interactive martial arts card game that'll be coming out. It's currently going through play testing. We're going through the final stages of that. So we got a lot of different things going that are all like cohesive to each other. So everything that we do has something to do with martial arts. All of the characters within the card game, the comic book, the other Web3 game that still is in the works. All of that stuff is going to be cohesive with the storyline and the characters as well. So
Nice. Lots of foundationary stuff working towards, some big goals. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
it's
I
weird too,
know.
because you get into these
Go
big
ahead.
projects and you don't know where they're going to go. You kind of have an idea,
Yeah.
right? But then
Yep.
you could be working with one group and, the shit hits the fan and everything falls to crap. And then, you got to be disciplined with
Yes.
it and keep working. And, you got to be ready for those setbacks. And that's one thing we're extremely disciplined and patient. We're extremely patient. And, we like to work with other people and get along with other people. And, sometimes things just don't work out for whatever reason. And then you always have to have irons in the fire. So if something does fall through, you've got already another plan in place ready to go. So
Yeah, I mean, it is complex. You're dealing with people from all over the world. You're dealing with, like you said, different age groups, different life experience sort of stuff, different in real life responsibilities, interests. So yeah, there's inevitably setbacks. Know all about that. My philosophy has always just been just try to stick to what's fun. If it's not fun anymore. Why are you doing it? So,
yeah, I agree.
it can be difficult, but if you're heading, like you said, if you're trying to always head in the right direction, I mean, you can't really go wrong, hopefully, in the end.
No, no, just keep
Um,
working hard. And yeah, sometimes I think nowadays it's a little bit different. It's a generational thing too that changes with generation. I feel like, And, everything changes with the generations too. You look at the technology and how much easier things are nowadays to do than they were when we were kids, for sure, or when I was a kid. So I think we're close to the same age bracket. We grew up doing a lot of the same stuff. I grew up as a headbanger kid, and that was kind of my realm, into the heavy metal and stuff. And I know we've got a lot of similar interests there. But
Yep,
yeah, so just work hard and, just keep plugging forward.
absolutely. Yeah, I'm 48 next month, I believe.
Okay, so we're pretty
So
close.
yeah, and I have the kids at work tell me all the time. Kids at work at least once a year. One kid will say to me, "When are you going to go to work? What's your job?" I'm like, "Well, what do you think? I just come here for fun." 48 years old, still haven't graduated kindergarten. I'm just a big, hairy, smelly kid. Yeah.
Now, which
Yes.
age group do you do?
I do 3 to 5 year olds, so right
Okay,
at the
so you got the
very entry
youngins.
level.
That's a
Yeah, yeah,
fun group. They'll keep you on your toes, that's for sure.
absolutely. And yeah, I've just seen them absolutely destroy other people that come in to take over who don't really know what they're doing or think they have a clue at what they're doing. Oh, yeah, it's can be interesting.
They'll run you ragged if
That
you let
that
them.
age, they're just that age group is just brutally honest.
Oh,
Just
yeah, 100%.
brutally honest. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a
So
bad
no, a lot of fun.
haircut or you wear a weird shirt or something, they will let you know, and they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
forget a thing you saying
So
either.
yeah, I can tell there's a kid in my class at the moment and she has been clued on ever since she could talk. Like I remember she was probably just over 1 year old and yeah, she wasn't in my class, but we share like open play yard sort of thing. And I walked past her and she just looked at me and she just goes, "New shorts." And I was like, how would you even know that? It was just a pair of shorts I had on that was yeah, they were happened to be new shorts, yeah.
Yeah, they
Funny
don't they
stuff.
don't miss a thing. They're like little sponges, man. They absorb and see everything. I guess because they got less things on their mind than we do as adults.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. While we're just chatting, I did do a bit of a sneaky peek. 470 properties you've got in Hyde Park at present. So that is quite significant. Quite a lot.
I
All
don't know who
right.
the
And
top
yeah,
I'm not sure who the top person is. Dizzy Diskey had quite a few props in Hyde Park. I know KO's up there. There's a couple other people that have some good amount of property actually there.
went in deep. Yep. And you've got a decent spread out there. And it's when I pulled this up before, I saw a green one here. Do you know what this is? I zoomed in on this, and it's like four in. I don't know why that's green.
Is that mine?
Yeah,
That's interesting. I don't
this
know
is
what that
your.
green is. Now I did purchase the other day 2 packages of some kind of properties,
Mm,
Prestige Prop or something. Maybe that's what that is. I haven't seen that actually. That's the first time I'm seeing it.
yeah, I don't know either.
Where are those?
So
Europe?
yeah, a good. Yeah, in the London area they were. Yep.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to check those out. Maybe those
Yes.
properties are
So
being
we'll bang.
foreclosed on.
Maybe. So you've got 322 structures, 21 unique. I didn't realize this was a feature on UPX Land. I went and had a look at mine too, and turns out I've got 21 as well. What's the badge is 30, isn't it? You've got to have 30 unique ones.
I think so. I think KO's got that.
Yeah.
He was bragging on that.
Yes. So where are you constructing at the moment, aside from Hyde Park? Anything particularly you got going on anyway?
I would say probably a majority of my builds are in Hyde Park. I've got I don't know how many properties I have over in Bellarose, Creedmoor.
Yep.
Everything I have over there, I know I have built up, and I've got some in Vegas, not too many. Oh, New Orleans. I just started building in New Orleans recently. I actually just had a property finish up there a little while ago. Got to get another one
Yep.
started. I haven't, other than Hyde Park, I haven't been really focused too much on building some of the unique structures. I got some unique structures in some different areas. I think Nashville. I'm trying to think where I built something recently. Can't even remember. But majority of it is Hyde Park.
Good.
I think Lake Balboa. I built a factory out that way. but I would say Hyde Park is our number one area. If I some of the other nodes that we network with and we do stuff with, if they, if they hit us up and say, hey, you're on the track here, I'll usually go and build something right away to get a structure up there for them to make the tracks look better. I think that just helps all of Upland too when racing is going on, to not see flat land. You actually get to see some structures, and always looks a little bit cooler. And depending on how racing's working that week, sometimes you see the structure, sometimes you don't. But yeah. Yeah, so I guess I'm not really focused on one area other than Hyde Park.
Nice. And you got plenty of block explorers. When I was having a look before here, you went pretty hardcore, makes sense, on the Ninja Ducks. Got a
Yes.
whole swag of those.
So Ninja Ducks is kind of a competition thing between me and KO, a competition in which he's kicking my butt right now, I believe. I don't.
Really?
He was picking him up. He's got a problem. He's definitely got a problem. He's got a dealer and everything, and he's definitely got a good jump start on me. I was ahead for a while, and I think he got wind of it and he started buying a ton of them. So he's definitely got probably about 10 more than me. So yeah, we like the Ninja Ducks.
Nice. Very cool. Any plans? Because I know wasn't there talk about those being like a feature with racing, being able to have teams or something?
At one time there was talks about that. I don't know. I don't know if anything really matriculated with that. I know I think with the racing, there's supposed to be like an academy where you're able to train your block explorers. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll come to fruition at some point. I know they've had a lot of glitches with the racing and stuff going on. So I'm sure they're trying to get all the kinks worked out. And I think maybe the consumables had a lot to play into the glitches.
Could be, yes. And we're looking at your one-of-one block explorer at the moment. That is one of the best ones that I've seen. How close was that to what you put through as what you wanted?
It was actually pretty right on. It was pretty right on. So
Yeah.
we had me and KO had some different things created for our avatars. And I love playing and training with the double sticks, the short sticks. So that's
Yep.
the weapon that's on my back. And then if you look at KO's Explorer, I believe his has got a sword. Or nunchucks, one of the two. For some reason, I think he
The
picked the
similar
sword, but his
thing.
favorite weapon is the nunchuck, I believe. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, so that's kind of how we picked those. It's just based on the weapons that we like.
Very cool.
So they're
And
pretty similar.
speaking of racing, you've got plenty of cars and some pretty top-notch expensive ones, including a 2022 S1R. You're all about the racing?
Yeah, we dabble in the racing. We've been having some fun with it. I think, out of all the vehicles I have, the only ones I don't have are the two that I want. One is the semi.
Yeah.
I still don't have a semi. I just wasn't paying the amount that they were running. And I do like that TR truck is pretty sweet looking. I like that.
Mm.
I think I saw one that I think it was Shaq Dillon. I think Shaq had one that was like a gold. It was like a Mac Daddy TR. That was a pretty sick looking truck, but I just like the body style on it. I would like to get one of those. I do not have a semi, and I do want a semi. I think those are going to be needed in the future for transportation. I think you only have the trucks. You don't even have the trailers yet, right? I don't think
Yeah,
those
we're
have come
still
out.
waiting.
What's going to
Yeah.
happen to Big A when those come out? He's going to have to buy more properties just to house all those trucks because he's got a plethora of trucks.
Well, that's the great unknown, isn't it? I mean, we're all expecting paid transportation mechanics to kick in. Like we have been told at some stage, you're going to have to, in air quotes, physically move these items. At the moment, we're just airdropping them here, there, and everywhere. That's
Hmm.
kind of my question as well. Like I know with myself, a lot of the showrooms that I've built, the showroom is right at the front of the plot area,
Hmm.
and there's not a lot of space around it. Well, what's going to happen there when it comes to delivery? Is it going to be like now where you send to some city and your car just goes straight over the freaking ocean and whatever? Or is it going to stick to the roads? Are you going to have some kind of spark parking space out the front of your showroom to offload? Are you going to block up the road? Yeah, I don't know. There's so many unknowns there.
Yeah, it's crazy to know. And we early on, we just had like one showroom, one factory, and we started to expand a little bit because who knows what it's going to be in the future, but I'm just kind of preparing, not financial advice or Upland advice, but I'm trying to spread out a little bit. So I've got a new showroom in Brazil, over in Rio, and I've got one somewhere else I just built. I can't remember where it was. So we've got three going, but I'm going to start to slowly expand those because like we said, we don't know, what it's going to be in the future.
Yeah, I cracked the seal on having a showroom in every city, and I kind of need to stick to that now that I've done it. So I'm pretty good on that at the moment. Still waiting for a bunch of these cities to have a city hall that you can apply for it.
Yeah.
I have also started to go back around, like a lot of these cities where I have a large collection property in that I'm definitely going to hold on to as a
Mhm.
dividends generator. I've started to put up a few factories around now that you can produce your assets in any factory you have. That's a much better system, I think. So I'm trying to make use of that while I can as well, because who knows what's going to happen with paid transportation mechanics.
Yeah.
So
100%.
see what happens.
Yeah, I've been trying
Right.
to spread my stuff out for sure before shipping, eventually shipping will be here, I guess. But until that time, I'm going to continue to spread some stuff out.
Yes. Now, speaking of map assets, you've got just under 1,000. You're clearly a massive supporter of a lot of stuff that everybody's got going on. You've got a very wide variety of stuff in here, including, of course, swags, and swags are the ones you're building.
Mhm.
Um, how has your experience been with a map assets creator as far as having to move these things? Are you somebody who tries to battle with it on mobile like I've attempted to do, or is it not much of a pain for you? What's
It's a
your
pain in
two
the
cents
butt.
on that whole system?
Yeah, it is not
Straight away.
easy. Even just searching through your library of what you have it's a pain
Yeah.
because especially when you're creating assets, they just build up so quick. So they're there and you got to sift through thousands and thousands of assets. It's a lot. And moving them around, just moving them from the factory to the showrooms, that's a pain because you can only move one at a time. So hopefully that system is definitely broken right now, and I'm sure there's going to be better stuff to come. How long is it going to take? We don't know, but it's definitely time consuming. I don't have a lot of time to move that stuff, so I'll find when I catch a quick minute, I'll get on the phone and start moving them with the phone, and it's really hard to do on that small screen. I got big fat fingers, so sometimes it can be a little bit time consuming. If I can get on the pad of the computer, it's a little bit easier. But I don't always have time to sit down and do that when you got work stuff, family stuff, kid stuff, there's a lot going on, so it's hard to keep up. And I know some of the younger guys that don't have families and different responsibilities, they have a little bit more free time to play the games. That's not me. So I do it with the time I have, but it definitely is very time consuming.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like most of yesterday, I spent because we had some storms kicking around here too. Nothing like what's going on over there, but I was up on the roof cleaning out gutters for most of the day in the rain between showers. Got down, had a shower, sat down. Okay, I'm going to move some assets. I'm all pumped. I've got an hour before we have to get the kids' afternoon routine going, and it was just lagged out beyond belief. I'm like, of course it is. It's yeah, super frustrating.
Yeah, the phone crashes all the time. It's brutal. I mean, I don't know if it's every phone. I have an iPhone personally, and man, it crashes. It drives me absolutely crazy. And there's sometimes I'll just get frustrated and I'll just put the phone down and I'm done with it. But I try to do that stuff in the morning, usually with my coffee before everybody else wakes up. I try to get going and do all my stuff before anything else happens. And as long as I do it early, I'll get it in and get it done what I need to. And I used to do a lot of treasure hunting. I haven't been doing as much of that. Um, Now that it's back on computer based, I may do a little bit more, but again, it's a time thing. You can, especially now that you can buy Sparklet on the exchange, it's sometimes
Yes.
more cost effective, time cost effective to buy the Sparklet rather than hunt for it. So at least the hunted stuff is free. It's just like mining basically. But it still requires a little bit of work. And if you don't have the time, it's not worth it.
Yeah, the widescreen issue on iOS is that's pretty much my biggest concern with what's going on. Like you talked about before how you see Upland heading in the right direction, but there's a lot of frustrations. Yeah, this is my number one biggest concern. I think I put a tweet out yesterday where we had an extended maintenance period, and I was hoping just maybe there was some optimization or something that might have come through of that. So I went over to Midtown Terrace, immediately widescreen. Yeah,
Yep.
it's super frustrating, and that's a red flag I've been waving for probably almost 4 years.
Yeah.
Or since at least since building started, because it was an issue as soon as building started, and it's just progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. So yes.
Yeah, hopefully they'll figure out a solution for that because it definitely is really, really frustrating. And I try to, there's always going to be something that's frustrating to us as players, and it seems like that should be an easy one to fix. Maybe it's not. I'm not a computer techie guy, so I don't know. I break more technology than anything, but yeah, it's just super, super frustrating. And usually, I try to focus on the things that are working and take advantage of that and steer away. And, with treasure hunting, that's one of the things that I've kind of steered away from because of the crashing and everything else. It's not worth the time and the frustration.
Obviously we don't know because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. But as a previous hobby game developer, I've talked about this previously, where I've gone back 6 months after I've coded some part of a game and tried to reread my code and optimize my code. And it's just, you look at it and you go, whoa, you touch one thing and it just completely breaks it. So who knows what they've got going on with, different people who've come on board over the years to be programmers. Yeah, you wouldn't know. So it could be an easy fix, or it could be just an absolute minefield.
Well, that's a good point you bring up,
it has
because
to be addressed.
yeah, that's definitely a good point you bring up, because with coding, like you're saying, you've looked at some stuff and it still looks weird after seeing it for so long. But when you have different coders coming in and building stuff, it's almost like you got to restart and redo it in some cases, I've heard from coders. So it's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done that previously where I had a problem with something. I couldn't get one feature working the way I wanted it. So I sent it to a fellow hobby game programmer. I sent him the code base, and he's just like, I'm not touching this. I got no idea how it works. He said, just do it like this. And it was like, probably I had about 50 lines of code, and he did what I was trying to do, fully optimized, it was probably about 6 lines of code.
Oh my
So
gosh.
just knowing different functions and stuff. So yeah, it can be a minefield, as I said.
So what kind of games did you enjoy building? Because I know you did some game development before.
Yeah, I like this is how I came into Upland, is a mobile kind of. I like two types of games. I like the Twitch games, like
Mm.
insta death. You get one chance, that's it. Get as far as you can try and get,
Mhm.
and that's it. You're done. And then I like the grinding sort of games,
Mm.
where you got to log in and do a few things here, there, and every day. And this still the games I play now. It's like before we got kicked off. That's exactly what I was doing.
Mm.
That's one of my frustrations with Upland, is now that these widescreen issues are so rampant on iOS, I can't, if I got 5-10 minutes, I can't just go over and move some assets. I can't just put that into little by little working away, trying to keep up with the factory. I have to block off some time where I can sit down on the laptop. I've never been a laptop PC gamer. I've always
Mhm.
been a mobile gamer. So
Interesting.
that's my frustrations.
What was the
All right.
first games you got started playing?
Oh, geez. Well, it's interesting. When I first moved to Japan, there was no such thing really as, smartphones. So when I got my first job in Japan, the company set me up with a little phone. It was like a little toy phone, but it had, Snake on it and whatnot.
Oh
So
yeah.
I maxed that out. But when my wife and I moved back to Japan a few years later, she actually talked me into getting an iPhone. I didn't want to know about it. So not long after I got my iPhone, I found a game called Super Stickman Golf. Just a quirky little mobile game, and I just got madly addicted to that. It's
Hmm.
how this whole broadcaster journey started. I created
Interesting.
online communities. I was doing online tournaments and all sorts of stuff. Created forums, and yeah, it was a whole bunch of stuff like that. So, and I still play that game.
What's your favorite game now in today's world?
Uh, it's a really horrible game, actually. I don't know why I play it. It's really bad. I'm surprised it's even on there. It's called Archery Clash. Um, yeah, it's not a good game. It's basically lobbing spears and axes into each other's heads and stuff. It's a weird game,
Awesome.
but there's something about it that's oddly satisfying. So yeah, I don't recommend it, especially not for little ones.
Interesting.
But it's one of those games that if you've got 5 seconds or a minute or two, you can log on, do something quick, and that's it. You don't have to
Yeah.
think about it too
Just
much.
have
So
some fun and not a lot of thought. Yeah.
yes. All right. Is there anything you wanted to touch on as far as what you yourself personally has got going on in Upland before we dive into a bit of contemporary news?
I don't think so. That's about what we got going on. I know a lot of the stuff that we have going on within Upland is kind of Hyde Park related and intertwined in that. So we can save that for a discussion with KO because I know we got a lot of similar thoughts and then some different thoughts too. So
All right.
dive
Very
into
good.
some news. What you got for news?
Well, I've been out of the loop for a while, so I've got a whole bunch of stuff. We'll see how much we can get through. Interesting, you mentioned the XYO coin.
Mhm.
I actually had a whole bunch of links pulled up for that because this is one of those bits of news that completely slipped past my radar. As I said, I've taken a bit of a backseat, so I'm not fully up to speed with things. But yeah, my eyes kind of bugged out of my head when I saw this one this morning when I was doing a bit of research. So you said you've been involved in this project for a very long time. Maybe you could give me the heads up on what it is.
So the owner of the company has changed over the years. The XYO, I guess I started dabbling in that probably about 2 years ago. I started mining it on the phone. A friend had told me about it. And, I've been mining it consistently almost every day since. And it has to do with like the XYO coordinates. And I don't know exactly how it's going to be used. There was some speculation that it was going to be used in metaverse projects. So I was really excited. I honestly saw something. I don't remember where I saw it, if it was on X or Reddit. Something came out about XYO and Upland in the same article.
Hmm,
And I was like, well, geez, that's interesting. So I knew Shacklin was involved in cryptos a little bit, and through conversations I had with her at Genesis Week and stuff. And, I had reached out to her and I was like, have you heard of XYO? I've collected this for a long time. And I seen an article come out where they were linked together. And she actually didn't know what XYO was. She didn't collect it. And I think she started collecting it that next day after we spoke. And
hmm,
then, here we are just a few months later, and, this came out with Upland and the merger or the partnership that they have. So I was really excited, but just because had to be over a year and a half ago. I had heard that it was going to intertwine into some type of metaverse or virtual reality property game, and what interests me is if you look at XYO on the app when you're tracking it, it's kind of similar to like GPS, where it maps the
hmm.
streets and everything. And the fact that Upland is kind of interlinked to like Google Earth in the maps of the world, that's
Yep.
kind of exciting. I think there's who knows what they're going to do with it. Some of the technology is supposed to be used, I think, for companies like UPS, maybe Amazon, some different things as far as like proof
Interesting.
of the way I understand it, like uh, proof of what's the word I'm looking for? Location, basically
Proof of
like proof of
yep.
location. I think there's another word for that. I can't think of it, but so because
Oh, POAP or something like that.
yeah, so when I was I went down to do a stick training with my son in Orlando, Florida, and we were at downtown Disney, and I was mining on my phone as we were walking through the park, and my my phone that I had going with the app, it was tracking all kinds of other people that were right around that location. So when the phones, or it used to be Sentinels, we used to use Sentinels with them. I think they've gotten rid of those now. But with the Sentinels, when they were in the same location, it was like a proof of location. So they could track things to that specific location. And the more trackers that were around in that area, it strengthened the proof that that was the actual location of it.
Interesting. So I wonder. we're talking before about paid transportation mechanics. I wonder if there's a tie in there somewhere as well. If that's a better system for tracking.
That's an
Yes.
interesting thought. I hadn't thought
Yeah.
about that.
Huh. So yeah,
That
there's plenty of articles about it. XYO and Upland to transform Web3 gaming and data sovereignty. Yeah, so it's interesting.
Yeah, it definitely
Yes.
is interesting.
Both companies will introduce the first features in their respective apps starting in October. Users can participate in their Learn and Earn campaigns in XYO's Coin. Now, I did see too, you said this is something you do on your phone, so obviously
Mhm.
there's an app there.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's 100% app based. And so you can actually I can be sitting on my couch at my house watching TV, and typically
Mm,
it mines while you drive. So when you drive around, it
mm,
mines every so often. But you can actually be sitting in one space in your house and they have like mini games. And
nice.
so after it mines the first amount of coins, kind of goes stagnant for X amount of time, but you can play a mini game for like 5 seconds, whatever it is. It's a really quick, stupid mini game. There's no thought or no skill that goes into it. It's like touching buttons. And then it mines another coin, and you could do that again and it'll mine another coin. And it might be like a matching game or something like that. So it's a really interesting app. And like I said, I've been mining it for a long time because it's easy. I don't have to change any of my day to day, what I'm doing. When I drive from my house to work, I just put the app on. And in the old days, you used to have to click the button. Every time it would time out, you
Mm.
would have to click to mine. And then they came out with the auto feature that it automatically mine for you once that time is up. So now you can drive without having to click the button every 5 seconds.
Nice. It sounds a little bit like Atlas Earth, if you're familiar with that kind of concept. That's another kind of virtual real estate app, gamey sort of thing.
I don't think I've heard of
Yes,
that
very
one.
interesting.
Has that been out for a while?
In the States, I believe it has. It's only recently come out in Australia.
Interesting. So is XYO
Um,
available where you guys are?
I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I'll definitely look into it after this.
It's
What
called,
I would be
the app
interested
is
to,
called Coin App. I don't know if you can see
oh yeah, yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
the
I'll
top
check it
one
out
there.
afterwards.
It's called Coin
I'll
App.
be interesting to see too. I'll dive in after the show or some stage and see if I can pick up a little bag of this. I think because that price looks pretty juicy to me.
Oh, it
It's been
is.
around for quite a while.
It was up.
It was at 5 cents at one point.
Yeah, I remember, KO calling me one day and he's like, "Have you looked at your balance on XYO?" And I was like, "No, why?" He said, "You need to go into your wallet and look." And I couldn't believe how much it had went up because I got in when it was like 0.004 and you couldn't even buy it. You can buy it on the exchanges now. Even Coinbase has it.
Yes,
But before you couldn't buy it anywhere. It wasn't on any exchanges. You could only mine it pretty much when I first got into it.
yes. There's massive supply, 13.48 billion.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but plenty of potential there if it all kicks off. And of course, while we're here, we'll take a quick look at the Sparklet price.
Mm.
Have you purchased some Sparklet to bridge in?
I honestly haven't because when it first came out, we weren't able to do it in the States, and it was too much of a
Yes.
hassle, so I didn't mess with it, to be honest.
Yeah, similar. I'm kind of waiting for it to become available on an Australian exchange or a bit of an easier process. It's something that I would love to dollar cost average in just to kind of build a bag, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah, I would have liked to have gotten it at about 3 cents. I mean, that would have been great.
Yeah, down here. It is. I was looking at the market charts before. It's very choppy in this range
Mhm.
over the last month or so. So yeah, who knows what's going to happen there?
It could move fairly quickly one way or another, I guess, just because of the supply, but yeah, I would like to pick some up and, like you said, dollar cost average in, but it's gotta be easier to get. It's kind of a pain in the butt right now.
Yes, absolutely. All right, what have we got? We've probably got about 5, 6 more minutes left. So we'll kind of do this like a fast. I got a bunch of things to go through, and I'll just get your 2 cents inputs on where you're at with things and what you think about them. I'll try and shut my mouth a bit. So Haunted Plaza and the Haunted Halloween Challenge. Maybe as somebody who is involved in the Bellerose Creedmoor node, what do you think about this whole situation?
I actually haven't looked at this. I haven't seen this yet, actually, the Halloween thing. Super tied into Creedmoor. We've been doing stuff with Shaq on and off for years, and she's a really good community player, and I feel like she looks out for everybody. Um, yeah, so I'm more tied into that neighborhood. I think the first event I ever did with Upland was in Creedmoor. They had the spooktacular racing that went on, and that was probably one of the first times I was ever on a podcast or anything, and I was dressed in a Halloween costume, which I really don't do. I'm not a big dresser upper. I think I dressed as like the Green Lantern because I was actually had scooted out of a Christmas or not a Christmas, a Halloween party to come on. It's a lot of fun. I'm not a big Halloween person, but I have had a lot of fun with the events that they've been doing over there.
Nice. Yeah. What I liked about this is that it kicked off nice and early. It's not like previous years where it's October 30th and okay, let's slap together something for Halloween. Plenty of time and effort being put into this one. So we'll see how that pans out. All right, moving on to the stock cars. Now, you said you are involved in racing. How much of that is related to the official stock car stuff?
Um, Not really. I'm big into cars. I like cars. I've never been big into racing actually until Upland. So we kind of got involved in it. We did some stuff with Mass Chef and DAC and had a lot of fun doing some stuff with the URL. So we like the camaraderie. It was something different. Actually, neither of us, me and KO, neither of us are racers. And we just had a great time, just competing with other people. Like I said, we're competitive. So anything where you got a chance to win or lose, keeps us on the edge of our seat, get a little adrenaline going. But we just got out there to have fun. We just enjoy having fun with other people from the community. And Matsuda R, and his sons, we got to meet those guys out in Vegas. And we had a lot of camaraderie with them through some of the different seasons. So it was really cool we just have fun doing that kind of stuff. We're not, into racing or stock car racing or anything like that in real life.
It's more the community aspects. Awesome.
Mhm.
All right. And this was a recent one that just got done. Now, I did see there's a lot of people paying big money on the secondary market to get hold of these cafe and theatre passes. As far as the nowhere thing, how much have you been involved in so far as setting up 3D spaces or anything like that with nowhere or some of the other systems that are out there?
So we've actually dabbled just a little bit. We actually had a couple meetings with John from Nowhere. I do like the product that they have. Man, the capabilities and the technology they have is actually pretty insane. I didn't realize how much there was to it. We were lucky enough. I actually didn't get a cafe, but KO did. He got a really good spot in line, and we did score a cafe. So we are going to have a
Nice.
Hyde Park Ninja cafe, and he actually got I guess there were two different levels. He got the better level. So it's, I think, a
Cool.
cooler skin. I think it's got a cooler skin or something. So we are excited about that. I think, again, with this particular project, we don't know, what the capabilities are going to be right now. I have kind of an idea just with some of the stuff I've looked at with Upland, but within our in real life passions with martial arts, I think we'll be able to live stream some stuff or maybe do some stuff like that. I did see kind of unrelated, but a little bit related. I think it was last week or a week and a half ago, they had the karate combat thing that was shown at the theater. And I did
Yes.
pop in to see that, but there hasn't been a lot of information on what is actually going on with that.
Yeah, that was. I, I was a bit frustrated with that myself. This is one of those things where I woke up in the morning at whatever time I got up, 5 a.m. or something,
Mhm.
and this was just announced and slapped together. Did they not know that this was coming up?
That's what
Yeah,
I
it seemed
said.
very last minute. Yeah,
And there
yeah,
wasn't a whole lot of information. Like you said, it was like spur of the moment out of nowhere. Like, what is this? I'm seeing
yeah,
it.
yeah,
And I thought I was waking up from a dream or something when I saw it, that there was actually
yeah,
karate in Upland. And were you able to get into the theater to watch it, or was it already done by the time you got up?
yeah. No, it was already done. I mean, chances are I probably wouldn't have got up at 2 a.m. to check it out anyway. But I I used to do karate. It's something that I still enjoy watching every now and then. This is something that I would potentially check out
Yeah.
if there was a bit more notice. But again, I've never had any luck with these kind of online nowhere cafe things. I can't get it on my phone; it goes to potato mode,
Hmm.
and struggle to get on the laptop as well. It's not a great sell if I'm getting up at 2 a.m. and I'm really keen to get involved in something, and it's 15, 20 minutes of frustration. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's still very, very early stages. But yeah, it's just surprised me that it was so last minute.
Yeah, I did. I actually just happened to be sitting on the couch having coffee when it did hit, and I got on, but I kept getting kicked out. So again, the
Yeah,
frustration. I got on for a few seconds, and then it was like every 30 seconds I was getting kicked out. So I just kind of turned the phone off, and that was that. But yeah, it would have been nice to have some notice, and then maybe they could have had like just had it recorded rather than be live for the first one, maybe, and do it where
yeah,
it was streamed at, this time and this time and this time. So there's like 3 different
yep,
showings, kind of like when you go to a movie theater, you have your different
yeah.
showings and do it that way. So everybody could participate in it and see it on their time zones would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to Swali's point with all these sales and whatnot. It's supposed to be a global metaverse. Surely they could split it up into three different bloody, you know,
Something. Yeah.
different time zones or something. Yes. All right. I'm conscious of the time. We'll zap through a few more of these. Now, the hidden gems, you did say you picked up a few of these kind of bundly things. There was a lot of stuff in the community saying it wasn't really worth it for the USD to UPX ratio.
Mm.
What's your thoughts on that whole system?
So I purchased them. I haven't even looked at them yet, to be honest, because I've been working since. We've got the schedule has been nuts, and then we had the weather in there. I had a mother-in-law's birthday in between all that, so I won't even look at those until tomorrow morning.
So, was the motivation there to have a gamble with the landmarks, or was it just to be involved and have a crack?
Kind of the gamble to get a landmark, to be honest.
Yep, nice. All right, and a few more to get through. This was kind of big news actually that came through. The We're finally getting the next stage of neighborhood collection challenges, the node versus node battles. Obviously, Hyde Park is still in the journey towards the first step of that. But what did you think about this?
So I haven't read through, but heard just a little bit about it. So it looks like you're going to have to you can move up like different levels of the collections, which I do
Yep,
like that.
yep,
Man, in my opinion, it's going to be. I don't know how cutthroat this is going to be because there's so many really great communities, and right now I feel like a lot of
yes,
the communities are working together to help each other. But what's going to
yep,
happen now because it's going to be a lot more cutthroat, I think. Um,
yep.
I like it, but I also see some concerns from a community aspect too, where it could get people like feuding for no reason. So there's got to be a
Yep.
way that they could gamify it and have more fun with it somehow.
Yes, well, there's actually some controversy kicking off today. Actually, when I woke up to some controversy where obviously we have the neighbourhood challenge for the moment is still tied to September.
Hmm.
After this one, it ties to the seasons. Um, Evergreen Lash is currently in battle with, I believe it's Bronxdale and Creedmoor.
Mm.
And there's been some shenanigans go on the back end where people are trying to buy people out to switch their allegiances and switch over their
Oh,
residencies at the last minute. I think that's a sign of what's to come. Yeah,
I think
it's
so too.
the I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back days. I think they're behind us. And when this originally came up like a year ago, a lot of us were kind of predicting this, and I don't like this from a community perspective. I've even back to the Spud Wars days. I didn't like that us versus them mentality. I'd much prefer the build everybody up together sort of thing. So
Hmm.
yeah, I personally wish they had gone in a different direction, but it is what it is. The other part I don't like is that fully established areas like Midtown Terrace or Century City or whatnot, they got no chance in hell because there's no future growth potential. We've already
Right.
built out as much as we can. So
Yeah. So what do you
that's a
do
bit
with
frustrating.
communities like yours? Do you have to deconstruct and reconstruct? I mean, that's a lot of work that you're having to do
I'm not going
twice.
down that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're pretty much resigned to the fact that we're not going to be able to level up. But it's interesting now that there's an incentive. You have to try and do something, otherwise you get demoted, which is kind of
Yeah.
it's interesting. I mean, a lot of this stuff is out of your hands. You know, you can only play with the cards you're dealt, and if you
Yeah.
get dealt a shitty hand, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, just a couple things I've been hearing and seeing over the last week. I think it's going to create more issues than it's worth.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. And I'm not with Hyde Park. We got a long way to go before we'll be sold out, and that's definitely not. It's really not even on our radar, to be honest. That's not our. That's not what we're looking to do. Is build it out, and
Yep.
so I don't really think about that or concern myself with it, but I do see it potentially causing issues between the communities, which I hate to see because there's been a lot of relationships built within different communities, and you just
Yes.
hate to see all that go, sideways. Basically, that would be
Yes,
unfortunate.
absolutely.
So hopefully that won't happen.
All right. Yeah, and this next one, this kind of come out the blue. I don't think anybody was expecting this one. A lot of people in the community thought treasure hunting was dead. Is it too little, too late? With Sparklet now being available to purchase for much cheaper, is it worth putting the time and effort in to grind away at treasure hunting?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, if you have the time to treasure hunt, I think it's worth it. If you don't on the back end, I don't. I do like that it's coming back to the computer base. I wish it would have never left because I was doing it pretty consistently. I did ask the question at Genesis Week. I'm trying to think. I can't remember who I talked to. It was someone that came to our booth, and I was talking to someone from Upland, and I had asked, is treasure hunting ever coming back to the computer base? And they said it definitely is. So I figured it was
Yeah.
just a matter of time. It seems like it took a long time. I don't know, again, with computer techie stuff, maybe there's more, more to it than my brain would think there is. It's not as simple as I probably thought it was. And it's good to see it back. How many treasure hunters did we lose in the process of that? I don't know. And how
Oh,
many are going to
yeah.
come back?
Yeah.
Because I know some
Yeah. A
people have
lot
a
of
lot
people.
invested into their treasure maps and stuff like that. And some people I know have actually started selling out their treasure maps. So do they even
Yeah,
have
that's
those
what I was
left?
going to
Some of
say.
the bigger holders. So
Yeah, hopefully, like the reason it was pulled down is because people had found a way to game the system and were doing nefarious things. Hopefully, that has been patched up. So
yeah.
we'll wait and see on that one. Two more things to touch on very briefly. We did have, of course, through the week, we had the start and then the pause of the Frederick new Starter City release. Were you planning on taking part in this one before it all got pulled down?
So to be honest, I didn't even know it was coming until I seen it got canceled and pushed to Monday. So
You've been too busy,
um,
yeah.
yeah, I was actually kind of excited. So if I do want to participate, I can. So we'll see what's left after I buy more NFL legits. I
Yeah,
am trying to catch the big A with the Buffalo legits. Being a
nice.
big Bills fan, I'm
Cool.
not sure what he's accomplished over the last week. I did catch up a little bit, so we'll see where that is. I saw somebody had a pretty big lead. I don't remember who the player was, but they've got 133,000 points for Tampa Bay. And I do not
Wow.
remember who the player was. It wasn't TM because I know TM has got quite a bit wrapped up in NFLPA, and I think Dizzy
Yep.
does too. I know Dizzy's a Minnesota fan, I believe, but somebody had a big chunk of Tampa Bay. I'm not sure. I can't remember from the leaderboard who that was though.
Nice. Yeah, I missed out on this one. It was kind of a blessing and a curse. I have basically I've got about 700K that I've pledged to give away in the next week, and I was a bit under budget with that because I FOMO'd into one of D-Tech's bloody cart auction things he was doing in his server. So I was like, well, I can't take part in this. Obviously, I need to get a showroom property there. So I didn't set the alarm for 2 a.m. And I'm glad I didn't, because if I had got up at 2 a.m. and then found it was cancelled, I wouldn't have been a happy camper. Not the first time that's happened. Probably won't be the
Yeah.
last, but yes.
Well, hopefully
Right.
Monday I go off without a hitch.
Hopefully, yes. And one last thing to touch on is obviously we've got harvest season coming up. Are you somebody that gets all on board with the passes? What do you have a special kind of structure ornament series you stick with for harvest season or the different seasons? What do you think about the whole seasonal aspect?
So I've been participating in each one. They need to have some more utility. They need a little bit more for the passes, I think. It's not a big chunk of money. It's $6, $7 at the end of the day. So, but I just feel like there's got to be some more to it. There's just not enough utility and function of the actual pass. I actually bought two. We're going to give one away on stream on Sunday, our Sunday Fun Day. But
Nice.
I've been participating in all of them, obviously, because I want to keep my earnings, potential at 14.7 or higher. Um,
Yep.
yeah, so I've been buying them. I haven't been lucky enough to get like a special one. I always get the crappy pass, but at least I get it and can participate. I think
Yep.
the last one I forgot to burn it right away, so I missed like the first week of whatever the perk was for the backgrounds or whatever. And it was actually a cool
Yep.
background. I think it was like a flamey thing. It looked kind of cool. And then I was
Yep.
pissed I didn't get it actually. So last time I miss
Bummer.
out. Yeah, but
All right.
yeah.
Well,
Do you participate in the passes?
um, yes and no. I FOMO'd into last season. Yeah, there's not enough there to get me involved. And once you do the currency conversion, it's $10, which is it's not the end of the world. I was picking them up for UPX.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to see more. More. It's not just that there wasn't more variety, just more on theme. You know, we've seen some bizarre ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll wait and see. All
Yeah,
right,
if they
I know
had
you got to
just a
go, mate.
little something more would be great, but we'll see what comes in the
Yeah,
future. I'm sure there's going to be more stuff coming, right? I mean, we're not the only ones that are saying
hopefully.
it. Everybody in Upland is
No.
wanting to see a little bit more. So they're a creative team, so hopefully they'll have something for it. Maybe we'll get some free XYO with the next drop. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, definitely check that one out. I'll put the link in the description for that, and there will also be links in the description for what SE Kicker's got going on and what he's got going on with KO Ninja and the Hyde Park Ninjas as well. Like I said, hopefully this is going to be part one of a three-part series. So very much appreciate your time. Yeah, it has been a bit of a battle to get it all scheduled in, but yes, thank you very much, mate. Last
Hey,
words
it's
over
been a
to you.
pleasure. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad to finally get on with you. I know, like you said, it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad we got to put it together. And hopefully, it won't be the last one. We'll definitely get on here, and maybe we'll do a metal night. We'll bring KO in and metal him to death. So we could have some fun with that.
Very good. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll catch you later.
All right. Have a